of what we have today. But how many of us were able to participate? Because the response is still like 2, and I think let me see, yeah, still 2. All right, so yeah, hello James, you called. Oh, not really. So I think I was just trying to set up the Jupyter notebook so that we can move on. All right, so please kindly do well and then touch this short quiz. It shouldn't supposed to be a trouble, but however, it also helps you to know, test your own understanding to figure out whether you truly understand the concept and what these data structures mean, and then the things that they do. Okay, because I've told you that when it comes to programming, everything is data type and data structures. Okay, so your thorough understanding about them can help you to solve problems. Okay, all right. So last Sunday when we met, we talked about sets, and I think now we've been able to go through the notebook that I sent. So we are continuing with the dictionaries, which is also another data type, an inbuilt data type that comes with your Python. All right, so let me do just a quick recap here. So we realize that the set has a special functionality whereby it is able to remove duplicates. That means that whenever you have a set, let's say when you have a number of values or items, and then you place them into a set, what happens is that the set removes any duplicate. It removes every duplicate that is present within your data. It removes every duplicate that is present within your data. Okay, so we can also perform one or two methods on them, and also check membership and other things. So I think with this one, as you went through the notebook, you had a concept. All right. So today we are going to talk about dictionaries. So when it comes to dictionaries in Python, it is synonymous to the normal dictionary that we know, whereby you have words and then you have their meaning. So likewise in programming, Python also have that kind of word and their meaning like pattern, but in this case we call it key and then the value. So in this case, the word will be the key and then its meaning will be the value. So Python is able to store data in this particular way. Okay, so if you recall completely, you realize that when we started with list, it can store data, which is the data types, in a particular way. Okay, so we say that in the list, the items are ordered, so we can access them with an index, similarly to a tuple. But when we came to the list, we say that they are not ordered. Okay, so you can't access them by using indexing. All right, but when it comes to dictionary two have a different way of storing information, and it always store information with its key and then the value. Okay, so the key is, as I've said earlier on, it's more of like the word in a dictionary, and then the value is like the its meaning. Okay, so when you come to the syntax, this is how it looks like. So dictionaries like sets also uses the curly bracket. However, the distinction between the two is the presentation of the data within the structure. So a dictionary will have a key and then a value, unlike sets which have only values or data types that are present within them. All right, so to create a list, okay, so please kindly give me a moment. I have to do something in a bit. Okay, all right. So let's see an example over here. So, assuming this is the patient's record, okay. So the name of the person is Kofi Mensah, and then the age 45, glucose level, blood pressure, and is the person diabetic? Okay, true. So you can see that here, instead of having a single data type, we have kind of two pairs of data type. Okay, so each data type over here on the left hand side of the column. Okay, so we have a column here. On the left hand side of the column is the key, and the one on the right hand side becomes the value. So we can store information like that. Okay. All right. So that's how dictionary stores information. Always it needs a key and also a value. So when we run this particular cell, you realize that we have the names over here and then its value as we presented it in the patient dictionary. Okay, so all of them has a key. So it's going to get 8885 as its value. Okay, and then when we check for the class, we have a dict, which is a short form of dictionary. Okay. All right. So one property of dictionary is it is unordered. So it means that the values within the dictionary is ordered. Okay, not with an index, but it is ordered as in because you've given it a key. So each of the values over here or each of the data types over here has a unique key. So this gives you the ability to access these keys. All right. So to access the key, this is the syntax. You need a dictionary name and then the key. Okay. All right. So in this case, you could see that all the data types on our left-hand side, they are strings. So now our keys are strings, though our keys can be numbers based on the kind of data that we are taking. Okay, but in this case, it is a string. That's why you have the key in parentheses. But if it was to be a number, you can put it in parentheses because we know that once you do that, you change the data type of that particular number from an integer to a string. Okay, all right. So in this case, if we want to know the person, all that we need to know is the key of the person, and here the key is the name. So when we pass the key, which is the name, as an argument in square brackets in, to the patient, which is the variable holding the dictionary, we are going to print the name. Likewise for the glucose and this. So you could see that there is some level of similarity between this and then indexing, as we learn of string indexing or list indexing or tuple indexing. So you realize that they all use square brackets and then you have your index as a parameter. So in this case, instead of using an index, which could be 0, 1, 2, or negative values for tuples and then for list, here we are using the keys, okay, in the dictionary as our indexes. Okay, so when we run this thing, you see that we are going to have Kofi Mensah, and then we also have 148 as glucose level, and also diabetic too. So we can just modify this output by just adding some strings to it. Say the name of patient. Please, I hope my screen is being shared. This is my screen being shared.
Yeah, we can see.
Please. Hello, please, is my screen being shared?
Yes,
There is no response. Is my screen being shared? Okay, okay, good. So please, but do well to answer me. Okay, by the way. All right, so patient, diabetic status. Okay, okay. All right, so when we run this, it's supposed to present well. So now we have annotated our output by assigning some strings to it. So name of patient, Kofi Mensah, patient glucose level. I think I have to add the level, sorry. Glucose level, that's going to give you 148, and patient diabetic status. He's diabetic, so it's true. All right, so this is how we access the values in your dictionary using the keys. Okay, so and there's the syntax, the dictionary name, and then the key. So this is can be compared to a raw data whereby you have names as column, and then the age, and then the glucose level, and then the blood pressure, and then the diabetic as rows under these columns. Okay, so you can access the name and then the column, sorry, the name and then the age of that particular row using all these functions. And sorry, these syntax. And understanding this syntax is very useful because the pandas data structures that we'll be using also have similar way of accessing values within your data set. All right. So with that said, we move on to the get function. All right. So the get is a safer way to access values. If the key does not exist, it returns none instead of raising an error. So I remember when we were, I think, working on the set, there was also one way of removing values from the set. Okay, and then we said that when you use the remove function, it actually gives you an error. Okay, but there is another function, I think the pop, when you use it, that it doesn't give you any error. And if the object that you are trying to remove does not exist, it just bypasses. But here in this case, for dictionary, it will give you a none, and a none is a representative of nothing is there or there is no key in the easy follow-up. Okay, so we said that we can get the values by using a new syntax. Instead of using this one, we can use it by, we can get the values by using the dot key, the dot get method. So in this case, we write the name of the dictionary, which is this, and then we add a dot get method to it, and then we pass our key as an argument. So because our key here, glucose, is a string, that's why we have a string over here. But however, we see that among these there is no cholesterol, but we pass it as a cholesterol. So let's see what will happen. So you realize that when it comes to the glucose, Python was able to find this key glucose in our dictionary. So here is the glucose, and it's returned its value. Okay. Likewise, here too, it's looked up for the cholesterol among our keys, but you can see that there is no value. There is no key called cholesterol over here, so it's returned none. Okay. All right. So here we use something over here. So we just say that patient.get cholesterol command not recorded. So here what we are trying to do is to just find an alternative word for the cholesterol. Okay. Okay, so if the cholesterol is not present, then it returns the not recorded. All right, so this is crucial in getting, data from the values of your dictionary key. So basically, when you have a dictionary app and then you are able to type a name, and then you type the name and then it gives you some output, I mean, it mimics something like this. So I would like us to put it in practice to see. So we are just going to create a very simple dictionary called my underscore dictionary. And please, I hope we are following along. Okay, so let's say first letter is go. Okay, and then the go, and then definition of the go is go means, um, this was the meaning of go. All right, so let me just put something there. Okay, then let's create another one. So let's say calm, then everything. Okay, so calm means da 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 da. All right, so there's our dictionary that we've created over here. Okay, so we want to use the keys that we've created over here to actually access the value. So the meaning. So imagine this is go and this is the meaning of go. This is calm and this is the meaning of calm. So we can just create a very simple program that looks out for this. Okay, so let's use our inputs function. So let me call it word underscore search. Okay, where we take an input, say present, it's not going to return any error. So we pass on the word search as an argument. Okay, all right, so let's try something. So let me type the go and see. Okay, so you see that once I type the go, I have the meaning of go here beautifully. Okay, exactly. So we can run it again and I'll type the cam, and then I have the cam means, is this value here that it is printing to us. This, I hope you are getting it. So we can just use the print function on them. Okay. Okay, and then maybe modify it, the string. So let's say the word. Okay, then maybe I'll do that, and then I'll bring. Um, it's just a simple way of formatting. You can just take your time to go through anytime. Okay, so means okay, good. So definitely, I'm supposed to have let's say calm. Okay, so the word calm means then let me just add some this one here. Okay, then let me do the calm. All right. So you can see that the word calm, so which is the calm, the argument that I typed. Okay, the word calm means so then the definition comes. So you can use it to build a dictionary, a simple dictionary, very simple. Okay, so but you see that the dictionaries that we have has tons of a lot of things. So you can't just be typing them manually. You'll be exhausted by the end of the day. But actually, it can be a very simple program that you can write. Okay, I mean, so that it's working, function very properly. Okay, but let me just make it much more realistic. I think I have some dictionary here at my end. So I'm just going to pick a word and then let's say, um, okay, jubilee. Let me say jubilee. Okay. Um, no, I think jubilee doesn't have a specific this one. Okay, so let me say, okay, let me call it curious. Okay, so according to my dictionary, this is the meaning of curious. So let me just add curious as another word. So curious, and the meaning of curious is this: beyond or deviating from the usual or expected. Okay, so once I do that, I've added it to it. So let me type curious. My program is going to say the word curious means beyond or deviating from the usual or expected. So I mean, basically, some programs does this, and then people do it just using some simple logic. Okay, all right. So that is that. So we'll make progress. Please, you understand it up to this stage. Please, do we understand? Um, please, do we? Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah, I can hear you now. Please, do we understand? Okay, good. Oh, sorry about that. So, which parts are you finding difficult? Here, is it here? Okay, I think let me just try and then split the thing so that I don't create a lot of confusion. Okay, good. All right, so I think we have a clear code, a clean code now. So let me just reiterate it. I mean, it's just a way of thinking about a problem, okay? I mean, as you go through the program, you ask yourself, what can I do with this? Okay. So you don't just have to just learn it, but as you go through, you revise the notebook or you go to the notebook in order to solidify the concepts that has been taught. Afterwards, you ask yourself, what can I do with it? Okay. All right. So we're talking about dictionaries, and we say that dictionaries have a key and a value pair. Okay, and that is how dictionary stores data. And we are saying that when you have the key, when you provide the key as an argument or as an argument within either square bracket over here, or is it either a square bracket, or when you use the dot get method, you can get the value of that particular that key. Okay, so we realize that in this case, we use the name glucose over here, which is present here as a key, which is a key, and we pass it as an argument between the square brackets. Okay, and then I was just giving the scenario that this is the same as the indexing, just that here because um, for dictionary they don't use those number-based indexing, so they use key-based index. You have to pass the name of the key as an argument. So we pass the name of the key within the square bracket, and it returns for us the name of the Kofi Mensa. So it's the same ideology that we pass on to the dot get method. But all that we were saying is that with this square bracket, if the key is not present, you're going to get an error. Okay, so Python is going to raise an error. So for instance, this diabetes, let me spell it wrongly. and do that. Okay, so you see that I'm having an error over here because this diabetes is not present, it's not a key. So they say that a key error, specifying to you the kind of error that you faced. Okay, but when you use the dot get method, when there is an error over here, because here we pass on cholesterol, which is not part of the keys in the dictionary, it's just going to return to you none. And then we also realize that if it is not present, you can just assign a value to it, a default value to it, okay, which is not recorded. Please, I hope you're getting it. So it is the same ideology that I'm saying that based on this dictionary like property, we can create a dictionary out of it. So we will create a dictionary and then we will have the words as the keys and then their meaning as the values. So first we created the first key go, and then we give the meaning of go as this. And then we also created come, okay, and then we give the meaning here. Then we created curious and then we give the meaning here. And then we say that, okay, fine, we've created our dictionary. Now we want to give the user an opportunity to curse. Then I can just use this and put the John there. Okay, so I'm going to get John 2000. Likewise, I can also use salary underscore workers dot get. Okay, then can just pass Eric to get Eric's own 3000. So we can use a print to modify it and say Eric's salary is this, but I mean that one you can just try it when you are just going through. Okay, all right, all right. So if there's no any other I think there is nothing to talk about here again. So and I hope you understand. Is there any question concerning how to update the values? Okay, sorry. So let me just add that. So maybe we want to update the salary of Eric. Okay, so we can just say salary underscore workers. So maybe Eric has received a promotion and we just want to, his salary has increased automatically because his new position does not take that. So his salary has moved to 5,000. Okay, so let's do that. So we realize that this has been updated when we create a new cell and then we try to print the salary, salary underscore workers. Okay, so you're going to see that now Eric's own has been updated to 5,000. But initially, if we were to print it here, salary underscore workers, they're going to have, oh, no, it has been updated. So let me just run this. Okay, all right. Okay, so now you see that initially it's a 3,000, but after we run this and then we run that, it's over here. Okay, all right. So as we move on, when we come to data structures that can hold voluminous of data, because this one can hold data, but it holds, I mean, very few data. Okay, and few data exist in this format. But we have data structures that can hold thousands of data, employee IDs and other things about them. Okay, but dictionary can just take these simple data structures. Okay, so you can also work with them. And once we move on to the big data structures that can contain large data files, I mean, we are going to utilize some of these basic algorithms or syntax to access data or modify data. All right. So likewise, it looks like all the data structures have a way of deleting some of its values, except tuples, which in which the values cannot be changed once it is being created. All right. So if you want to delete a key value pair, all that you need is a key. Okay. So you use del the del keyword, so which means delete, so a short form of delete, and then you bring the dictionary name and then you pass the key as an argument within the square bracket. So let's see that in action. So we want to, we have, let me come back to the page and so that we can just, all right, so let me just print the patients before and after so that we can see the difference. Okay, so here we are deleting the key diabetic, which is the diabetic status of the patient. Let's run it and see. Okay, so you can see that here we have the diabetic, which is true, but when you come to the second one, there is no diabetic, okay, because we have deleted it from our data or from the dictionary. All right, so it's very simple. Okay, dictionary, like other data types, also have some methods which help us to perform some basic or some tasks much more easier. And if you want to find all the keys, okay, so maybe you have a dictionary which is very voluminous, maybe a dictionary that contains about 100 keys, okay, and maybe you would like to know all the keys in the dictionary. All that you do is that you write the name of the dictionary and then you use the dot keys method. This will return the keys present within your data. So let's see what happens. So when it comes to your dictionary, sorry, the patient dictionary. So initially, let me just print two things so that we can compare. So here you have, these are the keys that we have: keys, name, age, blood pressure, and cholesterol, and then also insulin. So these are the keys that we have in this outcome. Let me just make the format a bit. Okay, good. All right, so I'm just trying to put some spaces between. Okay, then I use this one, so we call it a script character. So it makes it, it creates a new line. Okay. Okay, so once I do that, you can see that when I run patient.keys, it returns only the keys which are present. So once you know the keys here, you can access the value of each of the keys. So let's just put that one in practice. So I create a cell below it. So now I know the keys, provided I don't know anything in the dictionary. Okay, so let's say so I realize that name is there, age is there. So what is the age? So if I want to find the age, I can say patient.get, and I say age. Okay, that's going to give me the age 45. Okay, so maybe this is the dictionary for patient A. So I know that the patient A has age 45. Just by knowing the key, I can get the value. Please, you get it. Okay. Likewise, you can also access the values of the in a dictionary. So you can just use the dot values method. So if you want the key, dot key method. If you want the values, dot value method. Okay. And you don't have to memorize them. All that you have to do that dot keys give you the keys and the dot values give you the values. So each time you set your eyes on them, you know what it is doing and what actually the code is doing. So once you run this also, you realize that we are going to get so dict underscore values. So you have Kofi Mensa. So these are the values corresponding to the keys over here: name, age, glucose level of blood, and all that. Okay. All right. So we also have items. Okay. Returns all key value pairs as tuples. So the dot items returns the values within your sorry, the key and then the value within your dictionary as tuples. So let's run that and let's see it in real action. So you see that this is a key, okay, and this is a value, okay. So when you run patient.items, what Python does is that it puts the each value and each key as a tuple for you, okay. And we know that tuples are not mutable, like they are immutable, meaning that we cannot change it. And if you can recall, there are times that we call something expanding, and then I mean you are opening and then you are closing the tuple. So let's say we can say a comma, Let me try and see whether it's going to work. A comma B will be equals to so dict, sorry, so patient dot items, whereby the A over here will present this tuple, and then the B over here will present the key in the tuple, and then this one, the value in the tuple. Let me see whether this code will not return anything. There is a lot of, I mean, there are too many values to unpack. That is, we have a list of tuples. So you can see that then we have a list over here. So wherever you see those square brackets, it's kind of a list. So we have a list of tuples within the dict function. So we cannot do that. But however, we can collect each of the tuples by using something that we will later call loop, Python loop. Okay. All right. So, I mean, when we get there, I think I will demonstrate that to you, and it can be able to access each of these values and print them for you. Okay. So let me just try. So for A and B in Python, okay. So print A is the key. Sorry, let me just format it properly. Is the key of, okay, then B, hopefully it works right. Okay, so let me just make some extensions over here. That's like in order to separate something. Okay, let me add line break to, I think, please, I'm coming. I'm just trying to format it properly so that we can find the distinctions. So let me just add an escape, a new line to it, so that for each of them there will be a new line. Good. So over here, you see that I was trying to unpack each of them, but it was not working. But when I use this for loop, it was working. Though we'll talk about it later. But what that I'm trying to say is that for A and B in patient.items. So when you run these patient.items, these are the items over here. Okay, these tuples. So I'm saying that for this A and B value of each of the items, print that A is the key of the B. So what that I'm trying to tell you is that of the second item. So it's a name is the key of, age is the key of 45, and then did you get what I'm trying to say? All right. So I mean, don't be bothered by it. We will talk about loops, and then it will be very easy to understand. Why is this thing? Turn it off. Okay, good. All right, but I'm going to delete it for a moment to avoid any confusion. All right, so we can also get the items within this one. Then it gives you the key value pair. So if you want only the keys, you use the dot key method. If you want the values, that dot value method, the key and value, use the dot items. Okay, so we can also update the dictionary. So we can update it with another dictionary. So use the update. And we saw this update when we were learning sets. We said that when you have two sets, you can update one set to the other. So we maybe want to add the what's the name? Glycated hemoglobin status of the patient and also the BMI. Okay, so we can create a dictionary for them and say that patient.update new result. Once you do that, you see that the result will be updated with the glycated hemoglobin level and also the BMI level of the patient. Very simple. Okay, we also have the pop. So it looks like the pop is kind of ubiquitous. It is everywhere. So you can find it everywhere, by the way. So to remove something, you can just use the pop. So dot pop, then you provide a key. Okay. All right. So once you provide a key BMI, the BMI section and the BMI part of your dictionary will be removed just by providing a key. So once we do that, you will realize that the value that was removed will be shown, okay, which is the value for the BMI. and then when you check, you will not see the BMI in your list. Okay, so we have the delete, and then we realize that with the delete, all that you have to do is um, use the square bracket. But when you use the pop, it's kind of a method. Okay. All right. So and it's remove the key and its value. Okay. So and it's also it also returns the value of the key that you have removed. Just as when we're doing the list, anything that pop will remove. Okay, so please, the match has started. So I'm just about finishing. So we have the length function. The length function is also returns the length of the dictionary. Okay, so how many keys or key value pairs are present in your dictionary? All right, so the in function, so ubiquitous. If you want to find out whether a key is present in your dictionary, you use the key method. You get it? All right. Okay, we can also have nested dictionaries. So we can have a dictionary of dictionary. Okay, so we have a general dictionary over here, and within the dictionary we have created dictionaries within the dictionary. Okay, all right. So we have P001. So patient one, this is his values. Patient two, these are the values of the person. Patient three, these are the values. Okay. So when you say print hospital records, you have patient one. So patient one, a dictionary of values, which has the key and then the values to collect the person's data. Then you have to patient two, patient three. So you can create thousands of patients. And this is very simple. It's like when you have a data set, okay, you see that we have the names column, and then we have the age column, and then we have the diagnosis column, and then we have the glucose column. Okay, so this name here can be considered as the title or the title of the columns of our table. So, and within them, so this will be a row, AMA, then you see 34 like that. Okay. Please, I hope you understand because this is important. Like it mimics real life data. Okay, and this will be the ID of the patient. So the patient has patients of ID 001. What is the person's name? Amabuatin age. So in that regard, let me show this, demonstrate this in sorry, let me demonstrate it in Excel shortly. Okay, and so please, again, the die-hard fans, please. I'll finish right now, okay, so that you can go and watch your football. Okay, all right. Let me try to show it in Excel so that you can, I mean, have um, a clear view of it. James, don't cry. I'll finish right now, okay? And they just started. Okay. Okay, so I mean, when you have Excel, you can have an Excel data where you have, so you have the name, so here will be ID, name, I think age, diagnosis, okay, sorry, diagnosis. All right, so let's choose the rest as etc. So you can see that we have some in our data. We were having P001 and then the name. So likewise, instead of storing our data in a tabular form like this, we can also store them like a dictionary, like what we've done. Please, I hope you've gotten it. Okay. I mean, it's just giving you a way that we can also present data. And I think it's crucial for you to appreciate that, so that once you have a bigger data, you will not feel overwhelmed because you've seen a many of those data sets over and over. Okay. All right. So that is that. So patient ID. So this is like row, I mean the columns and then the columns and then, sorry, columns, 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 and their values. Okay. And we can access the values. So let's say if you want to access a single patient full record, so we can say that we want the hospital records of patient number 002. So simple. We have a dictionary of dictionaries. However, this becomes the key, and all these ones becomes the value. Okay, but when you pick this one only as a dictionary, this one becomes a key. and this one becomes a value. Okay. All right. So when we use this one, P002, it is the key for the hospital records. So that's going to give us the person at P002. So we have Kofia Sante. Um, we have this particular thing down here. Okay. All right. So access a specific field within a nested record. So we have a nested record. So what are we trying to do? We want to find the diagnosis status, or what disease was the person diagnosed of. Okay, from patient number two. So patient number two, what was the disease that he was diagnosed of? So what we do is that first hospital records, and then we have this. So when you say the hospital records, you see that this dictionary was retained. If this is the dictionary, then I can use this dictionary as my dictionary name, okay, because this return the dictionary and return the key, sorry, the value of the key diagnosis. So it's simple. So it's like this hospital records will give you this dictionary. So this is now like a new dictionary. So if I want to access the key of the diagnosis, I just have to pass the diagnosis in square bracket to this particular dictionary that I have already here. Okay, so once you do that, what do you get? You're going to get hypertension. It's actually very simple. Okay, so the syntax is outer dictionary, outer key, and then the inner key. Very simple. Okay, so you can just access all these data and in a very simple way. All right, yes, it was supposed because, yeah, so the value of the diagnosis is hypertension. That's why it gave you the hypertension. Please, are we okay? Okay, so too soon we've come to the close of today's session, and then I have a challenge for you. Please, this one I would like you to work it with your hand. So this will be taken as an assignment, and then the day of submission will be Friday. I'll create a space for to take the assignment. Okay. All right. So you visit the class, and then you make sure that you submit your assignment, which I know that most of us we don't do, but I think you have to find time to do them, because once you learn and you don't practice, it can affect you by some way. Okay. All right, because the more you practice, the more you generate questions, the more you stimulate your creativity, because you have already the creative power. So all that you need to do is to bring it to life. All right, so too soon. So please, this one you are working on it. This challenge for dictionary, you are working on it. Okay, because most of the data are stored in this particular format. So work on it, please, and submit it on Friday. Okay. So please, any question for me? Any question? All right. So, I mean, I think all of you are okay, and I think when you have the notebook, you be sorted. So the updated one too will be sent, because I think I annotated it when I was taking you through. So it also be updated on the class page, so you can view it, both the annotated one and even the previous one. But please kindly do want to work on the challenges. Okay. All right. So